Grand Theft Auto's $7 billion lie. Check it out.
Do you guys know that the statistical chances of you hitting the Mega Millions is something like 1 in 302 million, which is like 0.00.
Okay, so that means I only have to play the lottery like what? 320 million times? That's actually pretty fucking doable if you think about it.
0.0003% or something like that. If you guys saw somebody win the lottery, would you then assume that you could do the exact same thing? Investing all of your time and all of your energy into trying to essentially
if you play enough of it,
luck, manufacture luck is what you're doing. The video game industry does. A few things have happened recently that
it sure fucking seems like
image of how AAA is wasting its resources and setting expectations for things that they just cannot achieve. Oftentimes making games that nobody's asking for because they're not making the games for you, they're making them for somebody else. They're making them for themselves.
Yeah,
how believable does it sound?
They're making these games the way they want it fucking made. I mean, that's highly relatable. I mean, he's telling the truth here. He's speaking facts, so.
That for many of these publishers in the industry right now, they are benchmarking themselves up against some of the greatest games in the industry, not based on their quality, not based on how fun the game is or how much the players like it, but no, instead, how much money that game
makes. Yeah.
These executives are so delusional that they're looking at games like Minecraft, Fortnite, and even Grand Theft Auto and saying, yeah, my game can do that. Today, we're talking about how Grand Theft Auto 6 is apparently being projected to make $7 billion in the first 2 months of its release, and how the success of that franchise, as well as a handful of a few others, have been leading the games industry around by its nose for the past decade. Did you guys know that EA apparently thinks that Battlefield 6 is going to bring in more players than the entire franchise has put together? But before that, a word from today's sponsor. Watcher of the Realms is rolling out its second anniversary update, and it's probably its biggest one yet. It's a fantasy RPG available both on PC and mobile with over 200 heroes across 10 factions. The latest edition is a brand new tactician class, which adds a repositioning mechanic that lets you shift heroes mid-fight during their ultimates. It's a flexible system that lets you block, intercept, and push offensively depending on the situation.
It looks like
two new heroes, Morty and Valara, are leading the charge. Both come with their own unique bond skill that can instantly reposition, knock back enemies, reduce magical resistance, and buff your team on the fly. There's also a major in-game event right now, Immortals Redemption, where just logging in daily can net you 119 free summons, a legendary hero, cosmetics, and more. Plus, there are new mini-games, guild vs. guild battles, and even a personalized recap of your journey so far. If you've been curious or you haven't checked in for a while, now is probably the best time. You can click the link in the description below or scan the QR code on screen to try Watcher of the Realms for free on PC and mobile. Did you guys know that since the release of Grand Theft Auto 5 in 2013, the franchise has made over $10 billion as of this past May, or that Grand Theft Auto 5 is the fastest-selling entertainment product in media history, earning $1 billion in just 3 days, or that Grand Theft Auto Online in 2021 alone pulled in almost $1 billion by itself? Ever since Grand Theft Auto 3 reimagined this series as a 3D narrative sandbox, the franchise has printed money. It is one of the youngest and fastest growing in the industry, only trailing behind Mario, Tetris, and Pokemon in total sales. Grand Theft Auto 5 itself is second only to Minecraft in all-time units sold. We've already talked on this channel about how publishers and journalists across the industry have been basically begging for Grand Theft Auto 6 to raise the standard price of games to $100, not because that price is justified, but because they know that Rockstar could act.
I mean, let's be real. They could charge $100 for GTA 6. It's gonna be a big, good fucking game, you know. I mean, I would pay $100 for it. I mean, just look at it. Who wouldn't pay $100 for this game if it's anywhere near what people are saying it's gonna be? It's definitely gonna be worth $100. I think for even just anybody, $100 isn't too far out of the way. So I mean, I don't see why it would be an issue for anybody. It's definitely worth it. It's a good fucking experience, and if you enjoy it playing the series, then it's even more of a good investment. You know what I mean? We're muted here.
price point and it would still likely sell. While I disagree with the idea of using Grand Theft Auto to set a pricing precedent, because let's be honest, nobody else can pull that off and games just aren't worth that kind of money, I can't deny the reality. If any game could do it, it's this one. Barring any catastrophic failure, this game will sell no matter what. I've already seen millions of players tune in just to watch a trailer. At this point, whether or not this game even meets expectations probably doesn't even matter. And that brings us to today, because now analysts are predicting that Grand Theft Auto 6 will make $7 billion in its first 2 months. In an article from Insider Gaming titled GTA 6 will make $7 billion in 2 months, it's predicted. Grant Taylor Hill writes, "It's no big secret that Grand Theft Auto 6 will likely be the biggest game launch in history. It's set to shatter records worldwide and will easily shift millions and millions of copies within minutes of hitting the shelves." One venture capitalist firm, driven by investment in gaming, has taken an analytical stance, making a bunch of predictions, including an ambitious suggestion that Grand Theft Auto 6 will generate $7.6 billion in revenue in just 60 days of launch.
I mean, why go to the store and buy it when you get the digital marketplace? I mean, well, why sit there and wait for them to stock the shelves? You know what I mean?
Josh Chaplin posted a series of predictions based on internal chats at the firm. For those not in the know, Convoy is a firm focused on investing in platforms and technologies on the frontier of gaming. The internal analysis of Grand Theft Auto 6's future yielded a diverse platter of predictions, some more obvious than others. For instance, the team suggested that Grand Theft Auto 6 will be the greatest video game release of all time, which is almost a given. They also suggested that Grand Theft Auto 6 Online, or whatever it's going to be called, will accommodate 200-player lobbies and will host a thriving UGC component on the platform. One of the most ambitious predictions was centered around Grand Theft Auto 6's envisioned revenue. We predict Grand Theft Auto 6 will generate $7.6 billion in revenue in the first 60 days of its launch. Current release date, May 26, 2026. This will be the greatest video game release of all time, shattering player, viewership, and revenue records. They estimate in a 2-month window, Grand Theft Auto 6 will ship 85 million copies at $80 per game. The team at Convoy also factored in GTA Plus subscriptions, which they estimate will skyrocket when GTA 6 is released. As of 2025, Grand Theft Auto 5 has sold 215 million copies, and it just took 3 days for them to reach $1 billion in sales. Within a single day, 11 million copies were sold. Grand Theft Auto 6 arguably has more hype behind it than Grand Theft Auto 5 did, given the trailers for the game have already broken viewership records
plus the
twice. There's a bigger, hungrier
the audience that they've accumulated from 5, plus how much online platforms have grown. It's gonna be, as it says here, broken viewership records, all that, man. It's gonna be a lot bigger game for sure.
Audience, the technological leaps seem even more monumental, and Rockstar is playing the marketing game perfectly. That, my friends, is a lot of money, but funny enough, it wasn't the number that caught my attention, it was who was doing the predicting. The firm behind that number is Convoy Ventures, a venture capitalist firm that is focused on video games and emergent tech. They don't make games, they build funds, influence investment strategies, and funnel capital into early-stage startups, all while helping to set industry-wide expectations. And they are not alone. Alongside a slew of mutual funds, VCs, and institutional investors, firms like Convoy have warped the trajectory of AAA game development by treating anomalies like Grand Theft Auto as a baseline. They are all a part of the same apparatus that projected that the video game industry would see infinite growth during what they called the new normal of COVID lockdowns, all of which failed, leading to industry-wide layoffs and game cancellations. This needs to be said, it's not developers asking for billion-dollar launches. It's not the writers or artists or designers that are scoping their games for mass market appeal. That pressure is coming from the top, from firms that are managing hundreds of billions of dollars in assets, projecting 8% annual growth on an industry that is already nearing $300 billion in market cap. These investment firms aren't looking for sustainable returns. They are benchmarking success against outliers and assuming that every investment can follow suit. If GTA 5 can do it, why can't you? And that mindset is destroying this industry right now. These investment firms are often targeting established publishers like EA, Tencent, Activision Blizzard, Ubisoft, companies that are big enough to be able to absorb the risk, at least for now. And once they're invested, they want growth. Constant, aggressive, exponential growth, not just profitability, growth. That's why we've seen games as a service take over the last couple of years, because reoccurring revenue models are much easier to be able to forecast and monetize at scale. So investor logic says, go big or go home. Suddenly your games just can't be fun anymore. They need to be sticky, scalable, monetizable, commodifiable. And that's how you get these games that have $400 million development budgets and games that sell millions of copies but still fail to meet expectations. And when a firm like Convoy goes public with a 7.6...
They treat the game like a shop instead of the game like a game. I mean, they turn the fucking game into a goddamn a marketplace. As soon as you log into the game, it's just nothing. It's all you see is microtransactions and fucking deals they're trying to sell to you and offers.
$6 billion sales projection. It doesn't just set expectations for Grand Theft Auto 6. It moves the goalposts for everybody else. Other studios and other games are going to get compared to that figure. Other publishers are going to get asked why their portfolio is not performing at that same level. Suddenly, every shooter now needs to be Fortnite, every open world game needs to be GTA, and every roadmap is drawn with that fantasy in mind.
Yeah, because that's the standard. That's what people want.
I mean, look no further than EA reportedly planning for Battlefield 6 to reach 100 million users. That is 5 times the sales of Battlefield 1, the highest selling entry in the franchise, which topped out at around 21 million copies sold. In the 23 years of Battlefield, the entire franchise hasn't even hit 100 million. But now they think after the disaster of Battlefield 2042 that they're...
Look, bro. There's no... I mean, I guess if you want more realism than what COD has to offer, there's no reason to play Battlefield. There's... Call of Duty is just better in general, man. I mean, for the casual player, all that. I mean, I could take that back. I don't know.
You're going to somehow pull in 100 million people. What are you thinking? How do you believe these snake oil salesmen? Sure, part of that projection is because they're going to have a free-to-play battle royale mode that's meant to mimic Call of Duty. But there's always been a difference between those.
That's what I feel like it is, bro. They're trying to live up to another game's like standards or whatever numbers. I feel like Battlefield just tries too hard, bro. Like it's corporate. I feel like it's the word for it's like corporate slop, bro. I mean, I don't know.
2 games. Battlefield has never been Call of Duty. It's always been slower, more tactical, and more team-based. It's always had a more niche audience. It's still been a big game, just not that big. And instead of leaning into the things that make that game great, what made it resonate with its core audience, they are now chasing the same trends as everybody else. We need to be the next Fortnite. You know they've poured money into this thing. I guarantee $500 million or more. They've consolidated all of their Battlefield studios to work on this one game. Even created a Battlefield lab system to be able to get feedback in real time before the game was even in alpha. All of which they have ignored. Players said that they wanted meaningful classes, specialization, and a return to identity, and what they're getting instead is a flat system. No class restrictions, no unique weapon loadouts. Yeah. Everyone's going to be running the same guns, all in the name of accessibility.
It's corporate fucking
Not
slop.
because they think it makes the game better, but because someone, somewhere, thinks it's going to help them hit that 100 million player number. This isn't about players.
It's just
this isn't
a fucking
about
shooting
developers.
video
These
game,
decisions
bro.
are being driven by mutual funds, investment firms, and executive leadership that could not care less whether the game is actually good or not, because they can't hear you through the money. But these expectations are not reasonable. They're fantasies being sold to shareholders, inflated by analysts, and then parroted by the media, all so the people at the top can cash out before the ship hits the rocks. In most cases, the money that's behind these projections is coming from elite investors who are essentially just playing blackjack with the lives of developers and customers. They manipulate sentiment, pump up the hype, and then they pull their money out just as the stock hits its peak. That's why you often see a publisher stock drop the minute after a game releases, because the people that are driving this cycle were never in it for the long haul. They're not here to build sustainable studios or good games. They just want to gamble.
Money.
And the fallout, well, that lands squarely with the developers whose work gets scrapped, the studios that get shuttered, and the players that are stuck paying more for less. This is not just bad forecasting, it's manufactured pressure. From budget to scope to the tone of the marketing campaign, the product gets warped to serve somebody else's fantasy, and everybody else gets left holding the bag. I'm so exhausted. How do you guys not see what you're doing to yourself? These guys have to be addicts. That's the only thing that makes sense. That's why they're so high on AI right now, because it's the hot term. It brings in investors, and it could be the silver bullet that takes care of their budgeting issue that they have, that they're using to be able to chase these outlier successes that I just do not think you can compete with. I mean, look at Battle Royale right now. It's essentially the exact same games and has been the same games ever since the entire fad took on. Apex Legends, Call of Duty Warzone, Fortnite.
I mean, even Apex, bro. Even Apex followed down this same road. I used to play that game for like 4 years. Now they split I think it was split in two, the Battle Pass. You had to buy 2 parts of it. As soon as you go on it, there's nothing but deals, fucking promotions. It's just ugly, bro. The fucking home screen is littered with fucking shit that you have to purchase. You don't have to purchase it, but they want you to purchase it, and they fucking plaster it on your screen.
PUBG, there really hasn't been anything else that's entered into that conversation. If anything, some of those are starting to lose popularity, and it's just entropy more than anything else. We've seen so many games come for the throne.
They don't fix the actual issues.
That's why I asked the question, do players even want it? These guys aren't asking that. I think some of them are, and they're coming up with the wrong answer. They're saying extraction shooter, and the reason why they're coming up with that answer is because they're not asking the question for the players. They're asking it for their investors. The problem is these guys are looking at edge cases. They're looking at cultural phenomenons, and they're saying that this is how much video games can make. But they don't make that kind of money. You know, last year, over 20,000 video games released, or almost 20,000 video games released. 50 of them were high-profile games. How many of them actually made it? How many of them actually did well? How many of them did insane? You're benchmarking yourself against statistical anomalies. That's not sustainable.
Yeah.
Even if you can recreate the quality, you can't recreate engagement. That's why I think that these investment strategies and all of these analytics that these guys are using right now.
It's like trying to compare yourself. Let's use fucking space for whatever you want to call it. It's like trying to compare yourself. From fucking whatchamacallit, like Pluto to like the fucking like tons 617 or whatever the fuck that black hole is, bro. It's like 20 billion times bigger than Pluto. It got that way because it's been there for a long time, and it's been soaking shit up over the course of history. It has experience. That's actually perfect. That's the perfect fucking example. And that small, let's replace Pluto with another black hole. That small black hole hasn't been there that long, and it's only soaked up a little bit. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say? You try to compare yourself to that black hole, but that black hole has been there for billions of fucking years. It's just not gonna happen.
Is driving this industry into the ground because it's antithetical to the very industry itself. One of this year's most popular games is about selling drugs and riding around on a skateboard. You cannot predict that. That is not something that you can merely just recreate. All you can do is just make something good, make it for the right reasons, keep your expectations in check, and hope for the best. But I just don't think that these guys see that. And I don't think that they're going to last. What I don't think many people in this industry understand is that while you can set yourself up for success, while you can plan everything you possibly can, you can make a great game, you can deliver what the players are looking for, you can time your releases well, but there are factors behind some of these breakout hits that you just cannot replicate. You can't plan for it. The kind of successes we're talking about, Fortnite, Minecraft, Grand Theft Auto, it's not even about the quality or even the popularity. It's about what these games mean to people, and lightning striking at the exact right place at the exact right time, and no amount of analytics or investor hype can bottle that. Honestly, I don't even think that you can manufacture some of the more realistic hits that we've seen recently. Helldivers 2, Marvel Rivals, Black Myth Wukong, Palworld, Schedule 1. These are still massive, category-defining successes, but they didn't happen because somebody projected their way to a billion-dollar launch. Do you think that Tyler
made a good
the
fucking
solo dev behind
game.
Schedule 1 thought that he was going to move 6 million copies in just a couple of months? Do you think that Arrowhead expected Helldivers 2 to clear 12 million copies sold? Or that Game Science, making their very first game, had any idea that Black Myth Wukong was going to go on to sell 20 million copies in just its first month? Of course not, because there's no data to support that, no trend, just a game that hit at the right time with the right look, with the right pitch, at the right price, and sold it to the right audience.
Yeah, man, I just feel like motherfuckers
and that's
are
what
just
this
trying
industry keeps missing.
Anymore,
These aren't just products, they're cultural events, and cultural events do not happen on a spreadsheet. Sometimes a game lands because of social context. Helldivers 2 hit because people were desperate for something less sanitized. The market was and still is oversaturated with competitive shooters. People loved the cooperation. The game was fun as hell to play, and the memes were legendary. Sometimes it's economic, a price point that just undercuts the competition right at the right time when people don't have a lot of money. And sometimes it's just chaos. Maybe a streamer picks it up. Maybe it just scratches an itch that nobody knew that they had, and suddenly you have a phenomenon on your hands, not because you engineered it to succeed, but because something clicked that nobody could have predicted. I mean, going back to Schedule 1, as much as I love that game, there is a real chance that none of us would have ever seen it if it wasn't for Queso and a few other content creators picking that game up and playing its free demo. That was one moment, a split-second decision, a handful of viral clips then followed, and suddenly it had online culture in a chokehold. I've seen publishers try to recreate this kind of breakout success through content creator campaigns, and sure, sometimes it works, but nothing beats genuine curiosity.
I've been seeing like ads for like games that are just like this too.
Around an authentic product. That's the difference here. What they don't seem to understand is that authenticity does all of the heavy lifting on its own. The better and the more unique the game is, the more it resonates with the players, the more likely it is to seize one of those lightning in a bottle moments. But that only works if you're making something that people actually want. If you guys want to see this brain drain happen in real time, look no further than Splitgate 2. That game has lost 98% of its player base. They were reportedly paid out $400,000 to content creators, threw even more money into their marketing. They paid to go on stage at Summer Games Fest, which is reportedly anywhere from $250,000 to $500,000, just to stir up drama, calling out Call of Duty, screaming about Halo, wearing a Make FPS Great Again hat, the whole We're for Gamers cosplay routine. Meanwhile, the game itself is nothing more than Apex of Duty with portals, built around the same tired monetization systems and overused gameplay loops that everybody is burned out on right now. And this is what happens when these VCs take over. Splitgate 1 was a solid, genuinely fun game. But the second that money showed up, they cut support to that game less than a year after its launch to start over with a sequel, making a game that mirrors everything that everybody is sick of in this genre. I think that on some level, these companies do know that they can't manufacture everything, but their solutions, driven by the wrong motivations, consistently lead to worse outcomes. They look at what's already working in the industry.
I can't help but say it, but Splitgate 2 fucking sucked. I mean, it's just crazy. They were trying to hire, or not hire, but like get fucking creators from Marvel Rivals to fucking stream their game in a tournament. I haven't heard anything about that tournament since.
Right now, and they think the answer is just to do it bigger. Higher fidelity, celebrity cameos, licensed music, a cast that covers every single skin tone and identity, and then with the backing of investors, they pump hundreds of billions of dollars into something that completely misses the point, something that dilutes the very exact reason why some of these games found success in the first place. Take Schedule 1, I can already imagine the venture capitalist reboot, a AAA drug dealing simulator with photorealistic graphics, real-time grow technology, a dramatic score, maybe one of those fall prestige narratives about doing it for your family or fighting against the system. And in doing that, they would miss everything that made that game resonate. Its tone, its irreverence, its simplicity, its stupidity, its identity, and worse, when they see some of these games take off, these investors see that success and then they try to rush over to other indie publishers and try to force lightning to strike twice, only now with all of the wrong expectations. And that mindset, setting these impossible benchmarks and comparing them to unrelated titles, is one of the biggest drivers behind canceled games, shuttered studios, and mass layoffs right now. You've got legacy franchises that are going head-to-head with titles that they have no business competing with. Dragon Age the Veilguard was originally conceived to be a live service game. Only later did they pivot back to going to single player, and while it's good that they recognized that mistake, it didn't stop that project from being completely creatively bankrupt by the time that it launched. What were those guys thinking? Why would anyone believe that the key to broadening your appeal or making more money is to erase the identity your audiences showed up for in the first place? I think the best counterexample to all of this is From Software. That's a studio that has built its name on being niche, on being challenging, on being distinct. Demon's Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, each one redefining the last, slowly growing their audience without compromising what made their game special, and then came Elden Ring. That was a big swing, but instead of softening the experience
I've never played this game,
mass
but
market trends, they instead just made fundamental changes.
It looks
they
beautiful.
Just gave players freedom. The core challenge didn't go anywhere, but
really
now
good.
you could explore in any direction, experiment with your build, over-level if you need to, and come back stronger. It didn't pander, it empowered, and that's what made that game resonate with such a wider audience than the series had ever experienced before. That game bent around the players, but it never broke what it was. Even their latest game, Elden Ring Night Rain, proves that point. On paper, it looked like FromSoft was chasing trends, shrinking zones, roguelike mechanics, co-op PvE. People thought it was a Battle Royale spinoff, but instead of falling into the trap of imitation, they built something unique. It had influences for sure, but people still actually liked the game. It was focused, well executed, and grounded in their design philosophy. And while the initial reception of the game was mixed, its authenticity won over time. And now most people look back on it fondly because, well, it's a good game. The more publishers that try to script success are the more people that are going to be strangling the possibility out of it. And until people stop chasing these outliers, until they stop pitching every single game like it's going to be the next GTA, Fortnite, Minecraft, or whatever else, the cycle of over-budgeting, audience confusion, and mass layoffs is not going to be going anywhere, because games aren't investment vehicles, they're video games. And when you forget that, the people who pay for it aren't the ones who made the bet. I've been talking about this for a while, but there's a video I've been working on in the background where I actually go in to highlight just how misguided some of these decisions are and show the extent to which they actually affect the games that we play, the games that we buy. Tangible, visible ways that we actually see in games every single day. But I don't think that any of this is going to stop anytime soon because these guys are over-invested. There's too much money, there's too much on the line right now, and there's no way that they're going to back out. And this industry continues to make a lot of money. However, the wealth is starting to be distributed to the corners and not the center, and I think that's starting to take its toll.
Same old phone? Nah. Upgrade to the new Galaxy
It's fucking definitely taking its toll on something. I mean,
look at my sword, chat. Have my cat ears here,
fucking
my
running out of games to play
headband, my really cool.
I know that for sure.
Looking at some of the ways that these companies have been managing themselves lately, some of the layoffs and the cancellations, yeah, I don't think things are looking good. It's not that you shouldn't be aiming for some of these incredible successes. I think that you should be trying to benchmark yourself against them, but you should be doing that with their quality, with the gameplay. You need to stop paying attention to how much money they made and start paying attention to how they actually made that money. You know, if I think about some of the most popular games or some of the success stories that we've seen over the last 5 years, every single one of them comes down to authenticity, quality, managing expectations, and budgeting themselves appropriately. Every single one of them. I don't understand how you don't learn that lesson instead. You know, another thing is that when I look at some of these games, there's things that a lot of these companies are just out of touch. Their leadership is out of touch. Their motivations are out of touch. They don't understand common people. I look at a game like Grand Theft Auto. The reason why that series is done so well is because it's so relatable. They have always had their fingers on the pulse of society. They understand it at a level that not a lot of other people do. And because of that,
it's relatable. That's all that needs to be said. It's fucking relatable, dude. I mean, it's just like, it's real life, bro. I mean, there's nothing more that needs to be said there.
Able to create this really authentic experience that you just can't get anywhere else, where the people feel real and the world feels real. I remember in Grand Theft Auto 5, I was playing it, and there's this like foot race that you get in with this white lady that is just like very empowered, to say the least. And she's just screaming at you the entire time. I've met people like that in real life. When you play a game and you see something like that, and you see things like that multiple times while you're playing
that you can connect with,
it builds an experience that feels lived in. It feels like you're playing a game that actually...
And that's what people want, bro. They don't want something they can't relate to. I mean, we're all human beings. We all want something we can fucking relate to, you know? I mean, that's how the brain is wired. And to go and try to make something that's not relatable, it's gonna trigger that emotion in your brain to like, hey, this is extremely fucking boring. Why are we playing this game? You know what I'm trying to say? So
he understands you. And then that ends up becoming something that a lot of other people can resonate with, because then all of a sudden a clip gets shared online, or you're talking to a friend about what you saw or what you experienced or a quest that you were on, and they understand it. You guys joke about something else in real life, and then word of mouth takes over, and then the games pop off. That's the reason why some of these games do so well. But we're getting a lot of games that are being made.
Yeah, and another thing is, with Splitgate, take for example, if there's nothing... I mean, promotion is everything, and that goes to show with these people out there trying to promote these fucking games through just sitting in offices all fucking day with a whiteboard, drawing shit on the whiteboard. They're trying to promote. It's not that hard to promote something, bro. Just make something that's, like he said, is relatable. Something that's, I don't know, funny. People will promote that game for you just by having fun and having a good experience.
Made by people that just don't have anything in common with the common people. How do you think that you're going to find any success in that? And it's not just the elites. It's also some of the developers that they have. People that are completely detached from society. You need to pay attention to who you have leading these teams, who you have leading these companies, and they need to...
I guarantee you, if you were to hire like some fucking homeless guy off the street to be a, I don't know, your director, I guarantee you, bro, that'd be the best decision you've ever fucking made in your life.
They need to just come back down to earth. Simple as that. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video.